Hello and welcome to another Drive-In Double Feature. I'm Ryan,
I'm Nathan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before I get into anything at all, we have a Patreon over at patreon.com/Drive-In Double Feature podcast. It's got a bunch of fun games, some fun conversations, two friends just kind of hanging out, having a good time, talking about movies, maybe playing a couple of games or two. Who knows what we'll get into over there, but it's only $5 a month and it doesn't affect any regular content whatsoever. But today we're going to be talking about 1991's One False Move, and that is directed by Carl Franklin. Uh, so this is a Criterion movie, but that's not where I heard of this movie from. I explained this to Nathan, but when I go and walk my dog, I put on Siskel and Ebert reviews
Hell
as I'm
yeah.
like put that in my earbuds like as I'm walking so I can like listen to them like talk about movies and they always have a yearly episode where they would do like memo to the Academy, which is basically just like them giving their picks on who should be nominated for what and what should be nominated for Best Picture and so on.
Mhm.
1991 comes around and both of them like unanimously said that this movie should be nominated, and that so far it's their favorite picture of the year. And I'm just like, all right, come on, like if it's so great, why wasn't it nominated, Nathan?
Duh. I mean, that's the obvious question. What year? What 1991? That's Silence of the Lambs, correct?
I believe Silence of the Lambs won that year, but there's differing opinions because I keep seeing like 1992 or 1991 for this movie.
I was seeing different years, and that must have to do with like production versus release. Because I did read that this movie it had to like word of mouth is what got it its theatrical release.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
All
I
right.
don't
Well,
know if
yeah.
you know this, but the movie was actually meant to be released direct to video. It was considered because it's a record label that made this movie. IRS Records made was the
Gotcha.
producers, and that's why it has that weird logo at first. And then through word of mouth, they actually pushed it to theatrical.
Well, I know this movie too, like actually sat on the shelf for a while as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was filmed, I believe, like in the late 80s, and but it wasn't released until I think they said like 2 or 3 years later.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
actually really interesting that it would just sit around for so long.
Well, it's funny. So like actually just to give you an idea, um Billy Bob Thornton and Cinda Williams, who are both in this movie, they ended up getting married after this
I
movie.
actually didn't know that.
Uh, and they were married, and then by the time the movie was released, they got divorced.
That sounds about right. Wow, those two characters actually ended up together. I'll be honest with you, that's not what I was rooting for by the end of this movie.
You were gonna be like, yeah, well, hope the two of them end up
Oh,
together.
they have such good chemistry together.
But anyway, like I said, it wasn't nominated that year. So I was like, I got to see what this movie is all about. I got to know,
Mhm.
is it as good as they're making it out to be? Um, and on the surface, it seems like a pretty basic procedural movie, I would say, or like some type of like real small town murder movie. But this movie is actually like a little bit of a like a neo noir, like a film noir type of movie, where
Mhm.
um, the main plot of this movie is that Billy Bob Thornton and his partner, who is played by Michael Beach, named Pluto,
Mhm.
uh, they end up raiding this party, and because they're trying to find out where this one drug dealer is, and because one of the party goers knows them, so they kidnap one of the party goers. They take him to the drug dealer's house.
Mhm.
They end up murdering them, everybody,
Yeah.
and Cinda Williams is also there, and she's dating Billy Bob Thornton's character Ray,
Yeah.
and she finds a child there, and but she like completely ignores it, and
Mhm.
that's kind of how the movie starts.
Yeah, this movie starts with like a crazy boom. Like it's like so hard hitting because it starts off with a party, kind of light. I didn't know where because I knew nothing about. I've heard of this movie through Criterion and all of that, but and also I really love Bill Paxton, and I've seen this in his filmography for a long time because I'd love to watch all of his movies. So this is another one to add to that, and yeah, it just it starts off with they're kind of partying, and then Billy Bob Thornton comes in with a gun and just like starts like tying people up and putting stuff over their head. And the brutality of the beginning of this movie is very surprising to me, where they just after they find the drug dealer, they just murder these people. And Pluto there is very like he's kind of sick, and he plays the videotape that they were recording and plays it extremely loud while he stabs them to death. It's very violent. It's a very great way to start the movie because it's very dark, and then they move away from that.
So I was kind of spoiled a little bit by this movie because in Siskel and Ebert's review, that was like the one thing they're like, oh yeah, that does kind of start out very violently at the beginning
Oh
of this
yeah.
movie.
And for them that's like a horrible sin.
Yeah, they abhor violence a lot. They hate it.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
um, again, though, like it does have a really exciting start to the movie, and it kind of gets us set in our ways because they end up stealing all the drugs, and their goal is to drive to Texas and sell all the drugs and get all the money. Um, in the meantime, though, there's these cops from LA
Mhm.
that are wanting to capture them because that's where everything happened.
Mhm.
So the only lead that they have is that Ray, Billy Bob Thornton, has an uncle that lives in Star City, Arkansas,
Mhm.
and that apparently Ray uses that house as a hideaway or like as a safe house type of thing. So
Mhm.
the only lead they have, so they have to kind of build this relationship. So the first thing they do is call the sheriff of Star City, who is played by Bill Paxton, which they call him Hurricane in that town.
And they never explain it. They ask him at one point, like, why do they call you Hurricane? He's like, I don't know. They just started calling me that one day.
Yeah. And Bill Paxton, he's kind of like on the surface, like he's like this kind of like goof where he's just like, oh
Mhm.
shucks, type of thing. He's just like
Mhm.
he is very gung ho, like kind of seems like he's stupid. Like at least
Yeah.
that's what he's playing it as.
Yeah.
And that he's just been the same sheriff. He's never had to deal with any big issues at all.
Mhm.
And I do want to say right away, Bill Paxton in this movie is great in this movie.
As always, he is awesome in this movie. Really great performance, and it just goes with great writing too, because it's a character that you kind of like you peel the layers away of. Because right, you meet him and he's kind of goofy, and he just seems like he looks up to the boys in LA, which he still does. But then you kind of peel back the layers and just realize how detached he kind of is, like how he treats the people in town and how he actually doesn't really care about a lot of the people in the town. Also, you peel back some layers of just racism there because that's a huge thing with this movie is just dealing with the racism in the town, almost like passive racism where they don't hate black people, but black people live on another side of the town, and he freely uses the N word whenever, and it's like it starts to peel back these layers of this character.
I, 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 I mean, this is kind of a bit of a spoiler, but it's
Mhm.
like, like on the surface, he's like this really nice family guy, kind of
Mhm.
like he kind of acts like a little kid sometimes, but by the end of this movie, he's like he is so dark and just like it's
Yes.
just like he's actually like this terrible human,
Yeah.
like
That
like
Oh, go
It was
ahead.
such a like a it was just such a 180 by the end of this movie that's like no, it was that was just
Yeah.
all like an act. He's really like
Yeah.
this scumbag.
Yeah, because I guess to reveal, I don't know if you want to reveal twists and stuff
Yeah,
now,
go ahead. Yeah.
but yeah, what the way it sets it up is really good because there's a scene early in the movie where there's a black dude and with a young boy, and the way he stares at them in a sequence at the beginning, I just remember thinking like, oh, there's like this is building some kind of racism thing where he's like, oh, I hate these two, or they're a suspect just because of the color of their skin. Well, no, as we find out later in the movie, um Cinda Williams, her character's name is her fake name is Fantasia. He slept with her when she was 17, and that baby is actually his illegitimate son. And when that is revealed in the movie that that is his son, it's so well done because it's not even said. He just looks at him, and there's like this moment where I just like I remember in my head I was just like, oh my god, that's his son. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I when I came to that realization, I'm just like, oh wow.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's such a good reveal because you kind of think like you think how your head how it's going to play out is like, oh, like this
Mhm.
small town cop is going to kind of swoop in and save the day, and he's going to get
Mhm.
his big accommodation, and he's going to be kind of seen as like, oh, like this small hick cop is able to
Yeah.
outsmart all these LA cops and save the day type of thing. And the this whole thing is like it leads up to purely selfish reasons of like why he ends up doing
Oh
this,
yeah.
where it's just like he's trying really hard to like not let anyone else find out about this kid,
Hmm.
and he doesn't even like even Fantasia, like he has like just pure disdain for her too. Like he is like
Yeah.
at no point does it ever seems like he even actually likes her. He is because Billy Bob Thornton Ray, he is such a jerk in this movie. Like he is
Hmm.
abusive, like he hits her a lot.
Hmm.
He yells, and he's like uh, a drug addict too, and he's not a nice guy at all. And then when we get to this point later, Bill Paxton isn't as bad, but like he's still just as like verbally abusive and like still
Hmm.
like he's not a nice guy like when he's
Yeah.
dealing with her at all.
Yeah, I think that's what I like. One of the things I like the most about this movie is that idea of like good and bad. It starts to like fade away a lot, especially towards
Hmm.
the end. Whenever there is, because a lot of the movie is build up of Billy Bob Thornton making his way to Star City, and there's scenes that have to do with that, and then there's scenes to deal with Bill Paxton, and it only comes together until the last like 5 minutes somewhere in there, and by the time they meet, you're like, oh, okay, it's like multiple bad people just meeting each other, and I think that makes for something really dark and dour. Which, like, you're getting that vibe through all of the Billy Bob Thornton scenes because it's such a like nasty relationship. Because obviously he is extremely attached to her, but he beats the crap out of her, and it just makes me feel bad for Fantasia because obviously she's just very impressionable and she just seems to get dragged around by all these men to the point where she even kills a cop at one for them at one point.
That's such a great scene too, because
It is.
this whole time at the like you said, like Michael Beach's character Pluto is just like a psycho, where he's just
Hmm.
totally a cold-blooded killer, where he's just like even like the scene too. There's like one scene in the hotel where Ray kind of threatens him with
Hmm.
the gun, and he's just like man, like I'm gonna shoot you. Like, why don't you just do some drugs with us? And then Pluto just like gets on him and just basically is like, I will kill you and your girlfriend right now if you don't leave me alone, type
Yeah.
of thing.
Is it ever explained why they're working together? Because Pluto has a 150 IQ, supposedly, extremely smart dude. And I'm like, God, why would he ever get tied up with like this idiot? It must be the connections. They were able to, through each other, they could connect who the drug dealer was to get that money.
Yeah, I mean, because like I said before, like their end game is to take all this cocaine and go to Houston,
Yeah.
where Pluto has like a contact out there that will supposedly buy all this cocaine from them, because the
Mhm.
only amount of money they had stolen was about 15,000, and um, they're basically they're just wanting to get more money from the situation. But yeah, at a certain, but the oh yeah, going back to before, so well, as they're driving, they stop at like this really like convenience store that's in the middle of the night,
Mhm.
and they're just kind of just hanging out, like they're getting a burrito, snacks, that type of thing, and then all of a sudden this cop walks in,
Mhm.
and he's kind of looking at Fantasia, and Ray is kind of pulling out his guns like this guy, he's looking at me, I don't like it, I don't like the way he's looking at me, type of thing,
Mhm.
and then they're able to walk out without incident, and like the clerk there, like knows the sheriff or whatever, this cop, and is basically just like, oh, you sure do like black girls, don't you, or what, or something like that,
Yes, yeah.
or he's like, or it was she's a little young for you. He's like, that's fine, I like them young, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, ugh.
What a gross scene. What a gross thing to say, dude. But obviously he was a little like weirded out, and that's why he ends up following them and pulls them over. And
Well,
it's just a oh, go ahead.
well, yeah, it's because it is well known, because at this point that Ray and Pluto have been already made by the cops, and they've
Yeah.
already been put on like the wanted list, because he does call in the fact, like, it was like, oh, hey, I heard there's these three people out in California that murdered some
Hmm.
people, like type of thing. So he's at least aware of like what he's looking for.
Yeah, because I mean that like Pluto says, like you're out in the middle of nowhere in like Texas and it's two black people and a white dude, and it's just you're gonna kind of attract some attention to yourself in those parts. And that scene's so tense where they're in the car and Pluto's you feel like he has control over it because he's like, okay, he would have pulled us over now by now if he knew it was us and blah blah blah. And they're trying to keep it cool, but they end up getting pulled over and just things get worse and worse.
Well, well, and Ray is such a hothead too, where
Yeah.
he can't just be calm or whatever, because there's like a certain point too where you think like the cop's about to wave them off, because
Hmm.
and but then like Ray just kind of laughs at us, like he's like, man, are you gonna let us go or what, you dumb idiot, type of thing.
Yeah, with good
And
Billy Bob, by the way.
it's very easy living in the South for most of my life. But anyway,
Yeah,
but yeah, they end up going out, and they're about to get searched, and then Fantasia ends up shooting the cop in the head.
yeah. Which makes like because there's lines after that because it's after that in Star City they realize who it is. Lila Walker is her name, and and Billy Bob Thornton's like, oh, she would never kill anybody. They must have forced her into it. And they meet her mom, and her mom says the exact same thing. But as the audience, we know that she actually just murdered a cop. So we already know that she is really deep into whatever's going on.
Yeah, and kind of like the heat gets too much for her, and she ends
Hmm.
up actually stealing all the money from
Hmm.
their first heist and running off to Star City with it.
Yes.
And eventually what happens is the drug deal ends up going south. The
Hmm.
guy doesn't have the money that they thought he would have, and they end up murdering those guys.
Hmm.
And they're like, all right, well, we got to go to her and get our money back, essentially.
Yeah.
So then that's what they're having to do. But going back to Hurricane and the LA cops, I mean,
Hmm.
there's some like really funny scenes. Like there's a scene with like this guy that he was chopping down like the front door with an axe, and you think he's like this abusive husband or whatever, but
Hmm.
uh Hurricane kind of goes over there and just kind of calms him down. He's like, man, just go put the axe back in and just go inside and go to sleep, type of thing. And if you say
Yeah.
sorry to her, it'll be all fine. And and then
Yeah.
immediately like his wife goes from like screaming at him to like he's like, all right, now get inside and fix that window later.
Yeah, it kind of like showing like the small town cop versus the big city because the LA cops, of course, they bring out their guns to this because that would be the reaction in a big city.
And
And
that's the thing too. Hurricane also says like, I've never had to draw my weapon before.
Yes. Yeah. So like, and of course that makes the LA cops kind of make fun of him. And there's that scene that, you've seen in like a million movies where they end up talking trash about him at the diner because he like kind of pours his heart out. I was like, I really actually thinking about moving to LA and becoming a part of your crew. Well, he overhears a conversation between these two cops where they're pretty much making fun of him behind his back and be just like, can you believe that? He would never last 15 minutes in LA. Like it wouldn't work. And the way he handles it is like he kind of just sucks it up in the moment.
I actually like, I mean, like you said, it's a very common trope to
Hmm.
see that, but how they play it, how he plays it off is I like a lot
Yeah.
um because clearly they find out that Hurricane was in the same diner, and then when
Hmm.
they walk in, they're just like, oh, like he just heard us, and one of the cops like, hey man, look, and he's just like, hey, no worries, I just don't want to make a big thing of it, if you don't think
Hmm.
I can handle it, it's fine. And but you could clearly tell it did bother him a lot, and it was
Yeah.
just, and that kind of adds into him. That's the fuel to him kind of being very angry at the end of this movie.
Exactly. I think that's like the title, the one false move. I actually think that like that moment was a big crux for the end of the movie. Not only that, but also, of course, him trying to hide the secret. Because as soon as she shows back up in town, he knows he watches the house by himself and does not let the cops from LA know to the point where they lose track of him and they're trying to find him because they're pretty sure that he's with her. And
Well,
so,
and they even suspect that he's the father at one point, because they were
yes.
just like, because they said like, you seem to know that kid a little too well or whatever, or you're a
Yeah.
little too interested in that kid, and he's just like, all right, man, shut up, type of thing.
Yeah, he like yells at them. He says like shut up. Which is a great scene. And then yeah, once he finds out where she is and basically holds her captive until the two show up because not
Uh,
only is he gonna
oh,
hide. Oh, go
before you,
ahead.
well,
Yeah.
but I do want to mention one other scene too, which was
Yes.
funny, is when they actually go to Ray's uncle's house,
That's
and
right. Yeah.
and he's like, Ray, I got a nephew named Ray. He's like, who? It's just like this like Abbott and Costello routine or whatever.
Yeah, where he's like, where? Okay, well, where is your nephew? Who?
Who?
Ray. Oh, Ray,
Ray.
I got a nephew named Ray.
Ray. Yeah.
Just the fact, I think like he comes in and he's like, "Are you?" He asks him what his name is, but he's like, "I'm fixing to feed these chickens," and then he says that
Yeah.
over and over.
There was just that. It was just a little funny scene that I thought
Yeah.
was amusing that I had in there.
Hmm.
But anyway, you were saying about the
Oh,
finale.
oh yeah. So he holds them or her captive. So you see in his head what he's planning on doing is he's going to hide this child that they have, but he's also going to be the hero and be the only person there to whenever the two show up. So he can just arrest them and take care of them in the moment. So everything's just come together where he's just going to take it all on. And God, there's like the scene with the LA cops and they're driving around his son to try to, because she saw her son, and like the son is like trying to lead them to the correct place. And when I say son, this is like a toddler. So the toddler doesn't even know where he was even at. So they're trying to get this kid to point him out, completely skips over the street that they're supposed to go down.
And it's like, because her brother like knew where she was. I'm like, her older brother,
Hmm.
or no,
Yes.
younger
Yeah.
brother, I believe. But still, it's like if he would have just taken the cops there, like, at the end of the movie, everybody could have been saved potentially.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, it is the younger brother's fault that kind of that everybody ends up.
Because now they
Everybody
have
dies in
now
the end of this movie.
because now they have to like you said, now they have to depend on like this little toddler's like directions instead of his.
And then obviously that doesn't work out for them. Um,
Yeah,
but
but what they do end up together, like they're like and it's a very quick
mhm,
climax too. Like, when,
mhm,
like, as soon as like Ray shows up at the door with Pluto, Bill Paxton's kind of waiting for him.
yeah. And yeah, and like you said, it is extremely fast. This is a movie that's just like you get to the climax and it's very short and violent because And you think it would last a while because he holds both of them at gunpoint down on their knees, and then immediately, almost immediately after doing this, he gets distracted for a second, and then all hell breaks loose. And pretty much, I mean, yeah, everybody dies, including Fantasia ends up getting shot at one point right in the head. And that was probably the most brutal scene in the movie because that's like, if there's one person, she's not a great person, but if there's one person that deserved to live at the end of this movie, it was her. But she's instantly killed.
Everyone's just dead. The LA cops show up. Hurricane's been shot like 3 times.
He's dying
Uh,
on the ground.
he's literally dying on the ground, and then his son, the little toddler that was there, just like, hey, just sit with me for a while, type of thing,
Mhm.
and has to watch his dad die, and then
Yeah, but he doesn't
and
know it's his dad, and we'll never know, I
he does
guess.
he will never know, and I think it's pretty clear though he did die at the end.
Oh yeah, yeah, he definitely was dying. Like that's what they're setting up. That he was basically he was like looking at him before he died. He was one last look at his son.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, it was a very it after that. I mean, the movie just it's over
Yeah.
afterwards, and I really like this movie a lot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's so good. I would have to look again to see if it would deserve winning Best Picture, but a nomination, of course, I think it should have 100% have been that. It may have been the same year Unforgiven won. So
Oh, is it better than Unforgiven? It definitely rivals it. Unforgiven's a great movie.
it is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's better than Silence of the Lambs, but is it better than Unforgiven? It's got a shot,
I think
honestly.
so. I haven't watched Unforgiven in a while, but I at least like here. I do think this is an interesting enough conversation to see what else is nominated, to see if it could at least get nominated, right? Um,
Sure.
so yeah, this would have been Unforgiven. So Unforgiven, The Crying Game, A Few Good Men, Howard's End, and Scent of a Woman. Yeah, get Scent of a Woman out of there. One false move
Scent
definitely
of
could
a
go out
Woman
there. Yeah.
easily could have again picked that. That's a one. Even that's not Al Pacino's best performance ever,
Oh,
but
that was a gimme award, for him. No, yeah, I agree though. This is like, this is a classic, very underrated classic. Has the air of like Coen Brothers, just a really good thriller where nothing goes correct. Great writing, a lot of layers to it. I was
and
amazed by this one.
yeah, everyone in this movie gives a really good performance. All the
Mhm.
leading roles, like Michael Beach, Billy Bob Thornton, Cinda Williams,
Mhm.
and then like I said, Bill Paxton is just really good in this movie.
Very good.
If it wasn't Al Pacino, he should have been nominated and maybe even won.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that year's a controversial one because I know that's the year that Denzel Washington is nominated for Malcolm X, and I know a lot of people say he should have won for that. I don't know. This would
Right.
be an interesting, but definitely, I think Bill Paxton's better than Al Pacino in Scent of a Woman easily.
Well, that's just such an over the top performance that it's almost comical.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, that's a different conversation.
Yes.
Like I said, this was one of the ones where after I watched it, I was like, you know what, I could watch that movie again if I really wanted to. And
Yeah.
it was such a really great thriller, great performances. I give it one of my highest recommendations. I
Mhm.
actively seek out this movie. It is very good.
Yes. Highly, highly recommend this one. Definitely check it out.
Terrific. Well, that's gonna do it. So, Nathan, what are we doing next week?
All right. Well, Ryan, next week is back. We're back at it again with Sawzilla. And can you believe it? We've done 10 months of Saw. We're on Saw X. That is crazy to me. We just flew right through the Saw series. But yeah, Saw X is, I know that one's actually streaming somewhere. Give me 1 second. Yeah, Saw X is actually streaming over on Netflix. I feel like I'd never say that. So if you have Netflix, and it's all
Netflix.
And it's on Plex as well for free with ads. So you can check it out there too. But Ryan, what are we
Well,
covering? Oh, go ahead.
I always make sure I go with the streaming service with the ads.
Oh yeah, because I love ads so much. Well, I'm sorry,
Hmm.
Netflix has ads too. You pay for ads over there, depending
Yeah,
on what you choose.
I can afford the ad-free version. I pay for the ads.
Oh, wow, that's really nice of you. You get to support Netflix even more, right? You just let the
Yeah,
ads run. You just play movies with
uh,
ads in the background.
that's right. As soon as the movie's over, as soon as the ad run's over, I start up a new one so I can get some new ads going.
Yeah, I hate when you get repeat ads. I would love to just see new ad after new ad after new ad. And that's why I keep watching it to make sure I can hope and pray for a new ad to pop up.
It's like a fun roulette wheel.
Hmm. But Ryan, what are we covering on Thursday?
Well, Nathan, we are going to be continuing Godzilla. We're going to be talking about the movie Godzilla 2000, which is not
Not
streaming
streaming.
anywhere. You got to pay for it.
God damn it. No, that's fine. I'm excited to watch this one.
Terrific. Well, if you have any thoughts and opinions, please email us over at drive-in-double-feature-podcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out our youtube.com/drive-in-double-feature-podcast, and check out our patreon.com/drive-in-double-feature-podcast. But until next time.
Until next time.